Considering that most of us follow one of the several Abrahamic faiths, we are sure that we look up to the major figures of these faiths as examples of morality and righteousness. While the same may be said about the Greek gods sometimes, it's fair to say that the Greek gods were not the ones to set the greatest examples for what was right and wrong. Rather than being figures of morality, it appears that the ancient Greek gods seemed to represent the moral character of the humans that worshipped them. What do we mean? What were these gods up to in their domains? What sordid activities did they take part in? Join us as we expose the secrets of the Greek gods. First off, we shall head to the underworld where Hades ruled over the dead as the king of the underworld. Maybe that's why many considered Hades to be perhaps the most altruistic of his three ruling brothers, as he was never really portrayed negatively despite being the ruler of the realm of the dead. In fact, he also seemed to gain the respect of the living, the dead, and the immortals because he seemed to be the only one who remained faithful to his wife Persephone. An oddity when it comes to the philandering ways of the Greek pantheon. Some may even say that he was one of the few gods who was in love with his wife. Unfortunately, even the most faithful of gods couldn't keep his pants on. The only consolation we can say about the infidelity of the god of the underworld was that his lover, a nymph named Mintha, was the one who pursued him. In fact, it is said that she was the one who almost wore Hades down. But thanks to the intervention of Persephone, Hades was able to hold strong. Once Persephone was able to put an end to this affair, she took her revenge on the being that was chasing after her husband by turning her to the mint that we all enjoy today. That said, there are other accounts that tell us that Hades did have his way with Mintha before he abducted Persephone to be his wife in the underworld, and claiming he'd return to her when he's done with his abducted bride. In order to prevent this from happening, it is said that it was Demeter, Persephone's mother, who turned the nymph into the garden mint that we love today. Either way, we hope that Hades was able to keep his loyalty to his wife. At least, there's a chance that Hades tried to keep his loyalty to his wife by maintaining his morality. Sometimes these Greek gods threw morality out the window, so much so that even those that dedicated their lives to them weren't safe from their whims. Let's take a look at Medusa, who was once a beautiful woman who had dedicated her chastity to Athena, the supposed god of wisdom and warfare. Things looked good for the young maiden, until Poseidon, the gods of the seas and the oceans, set his sights on her. Some say it was lust, others say it was in order to get one over his rival Athena, but what is certain is that Poseidon violated the young maiden, despite the fact that she sought refuge in Athena's temple. Rather than giving the young victim some pity or some refuge after Medusa's vow of chastity had been violated, the goddess Athena instead was enraged by the act of defilement in her temple. She decided to punish Medusa by turning her into a beast with snakes for hair and the ability to turn people to stone with her stare. Even Medusa's sisters were not spared, as she turned both her sisters into beasts. Together, they were known as the Gorgons, who were slain by the hero Perseus. A sad tale for one who devoted her life and her chastity to the gods. Finally, we take a look at Aphrodite, the goddess of love. It may come as no surprise that the goddess of love in the Greek pantheon had many lovers, as she was known to have many gods and demigods in her bed. However, many may not know that she was married to Hephaestus, the Greek god of artisans, blacksmiths, carpenters, craftsmen, fire, metallurgy, metalworking, sculpture, and volcanoes. He also happened to be perhaps the ugliest god in Greek mythology. He was so ugly that even his own mother banished him from Mount Olympus because of his terrible looks. Shallow much. His looks were probably one of the reasons Aphrodite fooled around with so many other partners. Such was the folly of her ways that Hephaestus eventually caught her in bed with Ares, the god of war. Enraged, Hephaestus trapped the lovers in a net before making them the laughingstock of all the Greek gods. Regardless, their union resulted in the birth of Eros, the god of romantic love. Such was the sordid lives of the Greek gods.